Hello and welcome back to Planet AP. If you're new here, it's crazy out here, but you're gonna love it. And if you're not new here, welcome back, period. Today I'm gonna be talking about something that I feel like so many people would get value out of. Today I'm gonna be telling you guys how I paid off my debt with, are you kidding me? Today I'm gonna tell you guys how I paid off all my debt with $10 in my account and how you can clear your money blocks as well. And this video was actually inspired by an email I got from someone who had a payment coming up, and a girl was stressing out and she's writing me emails, and I reflected back her energy to her. And in sharing that, I wrote a really long email to her, right? So by the time I was done, I was like, dude, thousands of people could benefit from this, because debt energy and not having enough money, being in lack, being in scarcity is something that so many people struggle with. And I used to as well. Like just in Jan, okay? Like I literally, within one day, I'm gonna be so for real with you, within one day, one night, I changed my entire my entire relationship with money, and I will tell you exactly how to do it as well, okay? So let's get to it. Lessers getters to it. Let's talk about, you guys want to know something mad funny and unhinged? Is that, you know what? I have a candle lit up over here. Look at that. It's Pure Wonder by Bath and Body Works. And it smells so delicious, but I'm gonna have to blow it out because every time I reach for the cloth, I'm like, fire, period. But so good. Let's just keep her here. So let me tell you guys something mad funny, right? What the hell? Okay. Like, why are you being weird? Oh, frickin' hell. What the hell? Maybe if I try the other cloth? See, let's talk about us. No, the whiteboard's just a little bitch. What if we did this? Bro, why you gotta make me work out so much? I already did arms today. Went to the Little Mermaid class. Seriously? These videos are domesticizing me. Oh my god. Anything for you guys. You know what? I think it is on me because I didn't feel like getting this. This annoying, God. Right. Now, with all due respect. So let's talk about it, right? Let's start with the energy of debt. Now we understand. I'm gonna start with basics and then I'm gonna build it up all over again. I understand that sometimes you guys go like, but I knew this part, I knew that part. That's great. It's always great to reinforce, because what's that saying that they always say? Mother of what? Repetition. Repetition is the mother of mastery, right? So we're gonna start with the very basic, which is the first thing, which is you are an antenna, and you, through this antenna, you radiate a what? Frequency. This frequency is what you believe to be true about life. What? Not even just life, but specifically your life. All right? You are this person who has an antenna connected to you, and you emit a frequency. And your frequency is what? It is the energetic collection. It is the energetic, signature. Do you guys know what my sign looks like? It's so funny. Anyways, but it's the energetic signature of what you believe to be true about your life, right? Now, here's where people make a mistake, and where I was dropping the ball so hard for so long when it came to money. Here's what I would do wrong. And I don't know. So what I would do is I would sit there, I'd meditate. Yes, I do have hair beyond this. I would meditate and I'd be like, oh, I'm so rich. And I'd be like, I'm a millionaire, blah blah, and I would just feel like so good about money, so good about money, so good about money. And this money in my meditations would be, like, yeah, like in the future, as my life is happening this way, that way. I had made this scenario in my head that, right, oh, look at me, I'm Miss Queen walking the stage, what's that song? What's that? Walking. Oh my god, you know that song from White Chicks, White Girls? I don't know. Walking, faces passing, I'm homebound, something like that, right? That would be like this glorious little meditation I would see, and I'd be like, hell yeah, like, look at Anna, like, look at her go, there she goes, and I'm like, I'm on stage, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, feeling fly like a G6, feeling like a millionaire, blah blah blah. And then I would do what? I would wake up, right? I'd wake up in my 3D, right? And then I would be like a little nervous, like, okay, but like this is out there. So remember, we talked about in the quantum, there's 2 times, okay? In reality, there's 2 times. There's now, there's not now, okay? There's no past, there's no future, there's just this present moment. So it's now or not now. And I'd be like, well, all that energy, this millionaire energy is not now. So I would be meditating and feeling great about something, and I'd be like, my heart is so open. But I would still open my eyes and look at this as my real life, right? And then I would be like, okay, now I need to, like, come up with a plan. I need to come up with a plan on how I'm gonna get this money, how I will make this money, how I will make this happen, but here's the problem, and here's what I told homegirl in the email too, because I reflected back to her some of the shit that she said. I mean, like, some of the things that she said, and if you're watching, hey girl, but like, it was that, like, my mind, it was like I haven't come up with a way for how I will make this happen yet. Write that down, write that shit down. I know you'll be saying that to you too, right? You'll be saying something like, okay, I know that, like, that is like an ultimate reality type shit, but like, I don't know how it's gonna happen. But let me tell you something. Your mind, right? Your mind, okay? Let's say, all right, your mind, when it's thinking about the future, okay? Like, let's say it's thinking about next step, right? You know what your brain is? It's a record of the past. So it will go to, like, past files, and it will go to memories, and it will be like, what has happened before that I can recreate now? Your mind cannot come up with a solution that you're not familiar with. I don't make the rules, baby. I just tell them. So your mind is looking for what's a familiar way for you to make this happen. But do you remember what we always say? What got you here won't get you there. So your mind is looking for all the past files of what got you here. And it's saying that, okay, so I need what got me here to take me there. It's not gonna take you there, sir. It's not gonna take you there. What got you here, it's done its job. Now you have to come, like, like, this is the moment where the mind gets to be like, shut up, honey, sit down, because your mind will come up with everything from the past, whatever, but you might be thinking, or maybe you're not thinking, but even if you are or you're not, whatever, but most people here think that, okay, well, if I'm not making a plan, if I'm not strategizing what to do next, if I'm not coming up with a solution, because what do they always say? Look for solutions, look for this, think about solution, think about this. But here's the thing, the thing that they don't say is that if you come up with a solution from the level of consciousness that created the problem, your solution won't solution. It won't be solutioning, because remember this, right? Let's say Mr. Debt is frequency A, right? And you are, let's say, abundance, right, is frequency B. So the frequency A that created the debt cannot give you a solution for how to get out of it. Think about it. Because this frequency, both of these are what? They're states of consciousness, honey. So think about it. The state of consciousness, numero det, cannot take you cannot give you a solution for how to get out of it and stay out of it. Because if you come up with a solution from the frequency of the state of consciousness of debt itself, right? You know, honey, whatever solution you even come up with, you will still find yourself looping back in fucking debt. That's what's gonna happen. Wallahi, I'm so serious. Because that's what used to happen with me. Because I would always think when I was in debt, I was thinking of how to solve debt from the state of consciousness that created the debt. And this is what changed my life. Because when you get in a different state of consciousness, the solution will come to you. You won't go to it. You won't be making mind maps of how do I solve, none of that. So let me clear that. Period. I can lift you up. I can show you what you want to feel. Take you where you want to be. You can be my love. Even when the sky is falling down, I'll take you to the safe and sound. Do. We're safe and sound. Workers, fantastic job. Good job, guys. Good job. You can be my love. Even when the sky is falling down, I'll take you to safe and sound. You guys, in my next Quantum Leap, I'm hiring somebody who's gonna be sitting in my room while I do these videos, and their job will be to clean the board. Cause what the hell? Okay. Who the hell is texting me? It's my bestie. Now, think about it this way, right? Now let me tell you something. So this is a story that goes to Jan 2025, right? $10. So I'm gonna tell you guys what the heck happened in Jan 2025, because what the hell? So Jan 2025, right? I am being so for real with you, and this is the story that I told homegirl in my email, and I was like, I gotta tell it to everyone because of how powerful it is and how it shows you that literally I mean it when I say that every single thing changes in one night. It does not take decades, it does not take a million things to do, and even the part where I tell you about healing and shadow work and all of that, I'll tell you exactly how to do everything. But how to shift your reality in one night, that happens today, tonight. I don't care where on this freaking mother flying earth you are, where on this flying space or rock you are. Space or rock? Really? Rock of space. Where on this floating rock space? Wait, hold on. I know English. I don't care where on this floating rock we call home. Little Miss Author. You are like this night, you're changing. Tonight, you're quantum leaping if you do exactly what I tell you, because wallahi al-azim, you know, and if you're not Arab, that means I swear to God, you know, Almighty. This works. This works. There's no other way I can tell you how much this works, okay? So, Jan 2025, my bank account, I had $10 in my bank account. Barely that, okay? And I had a lot of debt. And I had this urgent payment of $197 that I had to pay. And I was like this. I was like, you know? Like, what am I going to do about it, right? So, I'll give you the whole lore, all right, story time. Go pause this, go get some popcorn, go get a cup of coffee, go get some tea, like, you know, I don't know, go get your baby carrots, whatever you want to eat, and like, let me tell you guys a story, right? I love telling stories, you can tell. Okay, so here's what happened. Now, in December 2024, okay, so like, I'll be so for real, December 2020, and by the way, I'm certain that if you're watching this, and you're on my channel, like you've either subscribed or you have been, like, you know, if you're watching this, like, obviously it's because you've been listening to this kind of stuff for a hot minute, right? So consider everything before this moment, you're December 2024, and what happens today is your Jan 2025, and what happens tomorrow is your Feb onwards. I can lift you up. Go! I can show you what you want. So here's what happened in December 2024. I got real serious. Like, I was like, so all of last year I spent like, I wasn't doing much. And when I say that, I probably say that from I don't know which standard, but I did write a second book, which if you wanna, oh my god, it's a crazy book. It's called How Long Will You Run? Everything about how, what your childhood wounds are, inner child stuff, how the world works, everything, quantum physics, neuroscience, neurolinguistic programming is basically like, this is it. Like, go heal, go fucking fix your life, go change the world type shit, right? So I have it for free inside my school community. If you want to join, there's the link below. You can also become an affiliate once you join and get paid when you bring other people to the community, because I grow, we all win, right? Anyways, coming back to, so I did that, I wrote a book. I walked away from my coaching business. I walked away from another business I had built, which was like, so basically like that other business, something I had invested like thousands and thousands of dollars in, right? I was like, yeah, no, doesn't work for me. And then they were like, but you're gonna lose your money. And I was like, money or peace. And I was like, and God was like, honey, girl, you gotta choose peace, right? I was like, period. So I did that. And then I feel like that was such a God-led, God-guided spiritual awakening type of moment. Like last year was like insane in all the best ways, right? So I had like these waves of like highs where I was creating, expressing in bliss, and then lows where I was like, integrating and like grounding and all that. Then I would do the next thing, which is like I certified different coaches for neurolinguistic programming because I'm a trainer. And then I was like, and then I went ahead and did like an in-person event called Date with Fate. And like, just like, it was like a year of, I did it because I wanted to kind of stuff, right? But anyway, so all of that, like later, I came to December and I was like, life is very slow and it felt like a warm blanket on a cold night, right? Because starting after September, right after September which was when I had my event. October, November, December were like my core spiritual breakthrough, like those were the months where I feel like I truly, for the first time in my life, experienced God consciously, and God consciousness. And I did a spiritual retreat, and I feel like that month, like those 3 months were just like I was barely working, and I was just so in love with God, right? And so that was around the time when I started to think about like, okay, God, like I know I'm creative. I know I have these gifts. Like, I know I have the abilities. Like, I know that when I coach people, I'm so great at it. But I look at my YouTube and it has like, 600 something subscribers. I look at my Instagram and it barely has like 1,200 people. I look at, it's like, I was like, there's no, I don't understand. How do I do it? How do I go forward, And I hired somebody, and that person ended up like, long story short, we didn't work together, even though like right after, because God wanted me to stay like, in my zone, right? So God was like, look at this, like, look at her. Like, I'm guiding her to some shit. She's out there, like, so he just removed that person, right? And now I'm like, God, like, I know that these coaches told me that you should have a stand store, but what do I even sell? What do I do? What do I this? What do I do? I was so in my head because I was like, God, I know I love you, and I know like you're the, like you're doing everything, blah, blah, blah. But like, I feel so stuck in my life. Like that's the word that I kept like telling myself. Like I feel so stuck. I feel so stagnant. I feel like I'm waiting for something to happen, but I don't know what it is, right? And and that energy, like it was like intellectually I knew that everything's changing and like, blah, blah, blah. But like in embodiment, I didn't, right? So I, out of like in a whim, I signed up for this 6-month program, Unleash Her Power Within, which was powered by Tony Robbins, right? And that program, like I remember when I was signing up for it, I remember thinking that like I don't think that this program is for me, in the sense that this is not what I need right now, right? But I was like, but this looks like the best case scenario right now, because I have done Unleash the Power Within, Unleash Her Power. I've done so many things with Tony, so like all these years, right? But my soul was like, I don't think this is like a Tony type of situation, like there's something deeper here. But I didn't know, so I attended the first one and I was like, wow, like I loved it, blah, blah. but something in me kept saying, you like, this, you don't belong here type shit, right? So anyways, now I saw this other program that I wanted to do, and it was $197, right? Our urgent payment, $197. It was starting, I think in a week or 2 weeks or something like that. And my bank account had what, $10? And I was like, shit, like I know, like I knew it in my bones that was kind of like the final piece to my spiritual whatever connection, integration puzzle. That was an embodiment, the last embodiment piece I needed. So $10, $197 payment. And I'm like, well, what do I do? How do I make it happen? How do I I don't see any payments coming in. I don't see this happening. I don't see that happening. And then my mind was spiraling. It was and that was the time when I started to really I was what you call that? Creating my vision board, and I was really getting out of the head and learning to get in the body, right? Learning to use the power of conviction. And I had been reading Neville Goddard for a hot minute, about a year and a half, 2 years or something. But that time, there was something about everything I was reading that was really sinking in. And that story of Neville and Abdullah, how he was just Abdullah told Neville, you are in Barbados. That story, that phrase kept ringing and echoing in my head, you are in Barbados, Anna. You're already in that program, you're already in the experience. And I was like, but I don't see how. Look at my account, I have $10. What do you mean? And that was an inner battle, right? So my mind would be no, I need to sell something, right? And my heart would be no, you need to create, to express, to love, to just be. And I was no, that sounds stupid, dude. I need money. And my heart was shut the hell up, just listen to me, right? And there was this war, right? So I was okay, you know what? Because I'm such a doer, I'm going to go ahead and apply for a refund from my Tony thing, because there was still time for me to apply for it. And I was I don't need to attend the Tony thing. I already knew, whatever. That was kind of a security deposit for, a emergency cash fund, whatever. So I take that out, right? I got the refund, but here's where the twist begins, right? The container started on Monday, and I had been applying a week before for the refund. And I told that girl, I was listen, please, I'm in, just just hold on, I'm coming, right? And I showed her, I was look, I applied for the refund, I'm just waiting to receive it, blah, blah, just, I really want to be in. And I was I know I'm in, and I know I'm in, I just, give me a hot minute. So I got the refund, but it did not land in my bank account for days, okay? And Monday passed by, and that money was lost in the void, okay? Because I remember I was writing emails to their team, to my bank. I was calling everyone. I was my $100 and whatever dollars, I was I need it. And it was no one was responding, no one was being helpful. Everyone was we don't know what to do, we don't know where it went, can't locate, can't this, can't that. And then there was this moment where I remember I was in the bathroom, and I was looking in the mirror, and I was looking just straight into my soul. And I looked at myself and I said, Anna, you are in Barbados, you're already in the bloody program. And I just my mind shut the hell up with the conviction I said that with. Because I was you are already in. What would you be doing right now if you were already inside that container? And I thought to myself, well, because I had my Zero BS manifestation workshop, right? I just launched it. I had no idea what I was going to teach in it or whatever. So I was well, I'd be prepping for that and posting about it. And I would literally divorce my old frequency. I would just live, do the next thing in my life, right? And that voice in my heart was go ahead and do it. And I was wait, but how can I do that? And it was what are you waiting for? I was permission from the world, because my mind was how can you be teaching about manifestation and this and that if you're not able to freaking manifest this amount of money to get in this course? Because the ego mind will do that. Am I recording? Yeah. Because the ego mind will do that, right? The ego mind kept telling me, you can't be hosting a masterclass, look at your own life. And I was oh shit, you're right. right? And that's the loop that girl was caught in too. But that night, what I did was I got in bed, and right when I got in bed, I closed my eyes. I took a deep fat breath in my heart. And then firstly, I relaxed my entire body. And then I held up my phone and I pretended like I was sending a voice note to that woman, right? Whose container it was. And I was like, it's been 3 months after the container ended. And, like I've made $30,000, or I don't even know how much I said. And my YouTube has like 5,000, 6,000 subscribers. And like, this is this, and blah, blah, blah. And I have this community, and I just like looped it, right? And I said it over and over and over and over and over again. And that night I said to God, I was like, God, tomorrow as I wake up, I'm waking up in the after. So like, release whatever energies in my heart. And I fully believed in it. It wasn't even a belief, it was a knowing. Like I know that my name is Anna, right? It was that kind of knowing. It's already done. Powerful, graceful, silent. It didn't go and do anything to get that money. It said, no, it's done, period. So I woke up the next morning and the air felt different. Like, I don't know how to explain that, but it did. And I remember that entire day, I didn't check my phone. I turned off my phone. I said, screw that. Like, whatever. Like, I don't even care anymore, because I don't need that container to know who I am. I don't need that container for that life to already be true. And so I spent the day like creating the masterclass and doing notes and doing this, doing that, probably recorded a YouTube video as well. And like, and my workshop was on a website called Gumroad, where you could, like, it was for free, but if you wanted to tip, you could, right? That thought didn't even occur to my mind, right? So now at around 9 p.m., and the second call of the community or whatever was the next day, right? At 9 p.m. I turned my phone on again. That money, the refund money that was, for error 404 money not found, it was in my account. Not only that, I've made like around $300 from Gumroad, from my masterclass that was free because people just felt like paying for it. Something that, like, it's not like they watched it and paid for it. They just went on the website, read it, and they were like, yeah, I want to sign up for this and I will pay her this much money. Random people paying random amounts of money. And that day I knew that, like, I am this woman. And it didn't happen because I did something. It happened when I stopped doing something. And that brings me to a very important point of debt energy, right? Now let me tell you something. I can lift you up. I can show you what you want. I'm gonna go. You can be mine. Okay. One of the biggest things when it comes to debt, right, is that people feel like they owe it to the debt. They owe the debt, their guilt, shame, fear, even sometimes frustration, stress, XYZ. So people who have debt, and this was me as well, I used to think that I owed it to my debt to feel guilty, to feel ashamed, to feel fearful, to feel frustrated, to stress about it all the time, right? Because that was the word. Is that they need to feel like, it's like loyalty to the debt. This is something that nobody talks about. Everyone who talks about debt-free living, debt advice, that's what's the advice they give you? Make a 5-year plan, make a 2-year plan, pay off your small debts, collect the small. It is all 3D focused. And I'm about to tell you some shit that these financial advisors they wish they thought about this first, right? But I swear they will never tell you this advice, because because everything is energy, everything is frequency, and so is fucking debt. Like, anyone who tells you that you need to plan about your debt, how to pay it or whatever, I swear to you, bullshit. Don't do it. Don't fucking do it. Like that, you might be thinking like, I don't know if you are, but if you're, whatever. But someone said, Anna, that's bullshit advice. But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you, as long as I was thinking about my debt, stressing about my debt, feeling bad about my debt, I felt like I was loyal to the debt to feel like shit. I owed it to my debt that I felt like shit, right? And so, even when I couldn't pay it, the least I thought that how I was paying for it, my payment was, I thought that my payment was feeling shitty until I could pay with money. Because I remember one of the people that I owed money to said this to me. They were like, and this wasn't this year, but they said this to me, like this was a last year kind of thing. And this person had said to me that, like, how are you at peace with yourself? And from that day, like, and it wasn't that I wasn't trying to pay. It was that I just couldn't fucking pay. Like I didn't have the fucking money. And I was like, I'm not at peace with myself, right? And since that day, I just felt like, no, Anna, you can't be at peace with yourself. You have people to pay. How can you be at peace? How can you be at peace? How can you be at peace? And here's what was happening energetically. That shit was running in the background, controlling my fucking life. And I was like, stressing and feeling like shit. And then I'm thinking like, why is money not coming to me? Why am I not abundant? And all this time, like, what is the frequency I'm emitting as well? I'm emitting the frequency of debt. So even when I would pay one person, like something or the other came up. Like there was always, like in my energy field, right? There was always like a bill to pay. Bill to pay plus not enough money. So think about it. If this shit is encoded in your field, you feel like you're like a hamster on a wheel, always trying to pay and then you're back again. Pay off, back again. Pay off, back again. Right? So I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you how to get out of it. And you might think that, what the hell, Anna? What the hell? But I swear to you, you do this shit and like, you're going to come back and you're going to tell me, Anna, I fucking kid you not, I did this and everything changed. Like, what are you, like a wizard? Like, what the hell? Like, what was that, Because I promise you it works, because I've done that in my life. And like, it's like it's just the fastest and the best way that I can tell you of what works. So, okay, whatever, that's rude. It's rude, whatever. Over here, you're gonna write down, how much debt do you have, okay? Let's say there's $10,000, okay? You're like, okay, I got $10,000 of debt, all right? What are the emotions? Fear, guilt, not enough, what the hell? Okay, shame, stress, control, maybe frustration, whatever, right? And you're gonna write down everything over here on your old frequency. Then you're gonna write down, what are the thoughts you think mostly, beliefs, convictions, expectations. I want you to be writing this shit down because I swear to you, this works. Okay. Then you're gonna come to new frequency, okay? Now, hopefully you can see that, but if you can't, I'm gonna read everything out, okay? You're gonna write down old frequency. What are the problems? What are the thoughts? What are the beliefs? What are the expectations? For example, what's normalized, right? I don't make money, I don't have money. Also, something important, what do you call reality? Homegirl, amazing person, but she said, I know my reality is about to catch up. What are you believing reality is, right? That is so important, is the word reality, right? We're gonna get to that, but remember, it's important to you, all right? So, old frequency includes all of this shit. the debt, the fear, the guilt, the not enough, the shame, the stress, the control. And one thing that I highlighted to her, that I will tell you as well, because I also highlighted this to a couple other people, which was that they were like, I am taking responsibility for how for something in my 3D right now. Like, I know that when the card swipes, I won't be able to pay, and I'm taking responsibility. So what can I do instead for now? What can I do? Now the card hasn't swiped yet, right? The 3D that you're thinking about, fretting about, hasn't happened yet. But you, by even thinking that I need to take pre-responsibility, is you saying to God that I don't trust you to pull through in this amount of time. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take precautions. That is not responsibility. That is control and fear disguised as responsibility. Because that in between moment of I'm here 2 days later, the card will get swiped and I don't have the money. What the fuck will happen in 2 days? So your mind goes I can't fucking sit with it, right? So I will do what? I will just be so responsible because I can't trust that miracles happen for me. And the moment you do that, you reinforce your old frequency. The moment you do that, you reinforce your old frequency. So here's what I did. You write all the shit down, right? And then you come up with what is your new frequency. For me, it was a 3-month vision that I just a 3-month vision that I could be 3 months, that's easy to happen, right? And I've now made 10, 30K, 10K, 20K, whatever that is. And whatever else that includes. And then as you're going to sleep, you will first of all get in bed, set the intention, dear God, tonight I release every single timeline other than this timeline that I am choosing tonight. I release every limitation, every debt, every doubt, every fear, every single thing. I give it over to you. I give it over to you to take care of it for me and to inspire me to move in alignment. Period. And then you loop your wish fulfilled scene. So for me, it was like sending a voice note, right? You loop it and you go to sleep. And when you wake up conscious of new thoughts that you're thinking. You wake up and literally, I'm not joking. I want you to ignore your problems. I want you to cut off visuals from the old frequency. You know what I did? And honestly, it's so, whatever. But what I did was every person I had to pay money to, I archived their chats. I was I'm not going to look at this because I will not let the 3D shift my fucking frequency. I will not let the 3D tell me, affect my state of being, because I know that my state inspires what happens in my reality. So that means archiving these chats so that I get out of that frequency and these people are paid for, I will do that. So I archived them and I said to myself, yep, that's paid, that's paid, that's paid, that's paid. Khalas, that's it. I turned off my phone because I was I don't even want to look at that woman's stories and what is happening in her container. And I brought my attention to something else. I literally ignored my problem. And you know what that did? That shifted my state of consciousness. Where energy, where energy flows, what do they say? Focus goes, right? And where your focus is, that's where your energy is creating. That's what it's creating. So then, I did that. And then I did the method that I teach you guys as well, the budgeting method, right? Because it's all about, and I'll tell you what it is again, but it's all about getting in a new frequency. It is all about having your nervous system, settle down in a new state of consciousness. And it instantly shifts reality. Instantly, right? And when I say, because reality is what you know here. So when you ignore your problems, you are not being a bad person. You are actually being more responsible by choosing to feel good before the thing manifests. By choosing joy, by choosing to, pour into yourself, by choosing to feel gratitude before it's made manifest. That is you being responsible. It's not responsible to feel like shit because you're not helping yourself in that way. And because here's the thing, right? it does come back to the energy that we emit about like how are you treating money, because when you're in a state of consciousness of like, yeah, I have it, like, you know, like it's done, like debt is solved, you are not begging, you are not hoping, you are simply walking in the after, walking as the after, walking as the one who everything works out for. You stop identifying your story as someone who has debt. That's what I told her. I was like, babe, like you wrote this email from your old frequency. Like you need to stop like validating the old story. You need to give your new story, give your new frequency a chance to show up, a chance to do something, a chance for God to like, you know, actually surprise you without you getting in the way, right? Hold on. So in the caption, I'll attach the video where I taught you guys how to do the budgeting method, like, you know, how you can release all your money blocks through it, because that shit like worked for me a lot, right? It's very iconic. So you can watch that. You can watch that video. You can learn how to do it and go ahead and do it, because the purpose, literally, what is the purpose, right? The purpose is for you to stop like drooling over money, you know, like, oh my God, I need you, son. Like, think about it. Like, if you were like, oh my God, you know, toxic dating advice, right? People give toxic dating advice, like, don't text them first, you know, like, make him want you, like, blah, blah, blah. You can use toxic dating advice to literally manifest faster. What does that mean? Like, toxic dating advice is what? Like, you know, like, give them a little bit of energy and then, like, just go away, right? So you give money a little bit of energy when you're visualizing, and then just, you know, I have it already. I don't need you, bro. And then you go and move on, right? So that's it. You don't need the money. And then what do you have in your heart then? You remember, and this is probably the piece that ties it all together, is that you remember that your heart belongs to God. So you attach your frequency, your energy, you attach it all to God, and you remember that God is the doer of everything. So if God is the doer, do I need to be stressing about what my mind says needs to happen? No. If God is the doer, do I need to come up with a plan? No. If God is, I don't have to do anything. I literally have to take my problem and give it to God. And you know, that's what I do daily. I'm like, okay, all right, God, like I notice like I'm stressing a little bit about this, so you know, I take 3 deep breaths and I'm like, here you go, problem's yours. For me, it's solved. And I'll laugh and move on, because life is supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be easy. You fool. It is supposed, with all due respect, I love you, you know, I don't think you're a fool. But it's supposed to be easy and fun and like, you know, but we have been conditioned that you have to be so nasty and so rude. No. You just gotta be, like today, all right? Let me tell you guys what I did today, because I think we forget that we have free will. I was like, you know, I signed up for like, you know, swimming thrice in the morning, thrice in the week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I went to my pool, I went, got coffee, I did this, I did that, I came back. Like there was no like rush about like, you gotta work. And I used to work so hard, right? And then I was like, when I was checking my emails, I was literally like left, right, center, gifting people shit. I was like, okay, well here, you know, free subscription to my community for life, take it. Okay, this is the problem here, take this, take my rampages, take this thing, take that thing. Why? Because I remember, like, I do this shit because to help people. I do this shit because I love my people. Right? And when you love, and when your love is connected with God, then you're in overflow. You don't need people to buy shit from you. You're not on the payroll of, you're not on God, you know, like the world's payroll. You are on God's payroll, and everything you do is for God. Like you're just like, God, like, you know what? Period. Like yeah. So that is it, right? So go home. You are probably home. Why did I think I'm like in a stadium right now and I'm like, go home? Okay, yeah, okay, period. If you want my free quantum leaping transmission thingy workshop, the free link is below. You get a rampage, you get another workshop. There's a lot of stuff you get. go get it, go dive in it, go have fun with it. If you want to be a part of my school community, where you can get my second book and another like 3-day thing that I did, which has to do with shadow work. And a lot of like, you get my rampages, you get a lot of like thousands and thousands of dollars of resources for free for just $55. You can get that per month. You can get that here. And I am running a 14-day timeline death challenge. Okay, this challenge is something that has like, I feel like has been building up since last year, like since the beginning of last year. It is what I've taken myself through before every quantum leap and sustained it, right? So here's the thing about a quantum leap. If you don't want to be a part of it, there's nothing else I'm going to tell you about money in this video. Like, I'm not, eating up your time. You can leave. But if you want to know more information, feel free to stay, all right? So I'm just going to take like literally 5 minutes of your time, all right? So what it is that there's 2 ways to change, okay? There's 2 ways to change or let's say heal anything in your life, right? When you're quantum leaping, okay? The way 1 is equals to, you're over here, you quantum leap to this reality, okay? And now, as you're over here, you wait for the 3D to trigger you. So you wait for the quantum crumble, okay? One way is that you quantum leap, you make that energetic decision, and then you just move through and, it's like you were walking this path and you switch lanes, all right? You switch lanes and then God will just throw shit around for you to clear it so that, you can manifest the leap in 3D, okay? That's way 1. But I've noticed the way that I always do it and the way that I found it to be the most powerful way to do it, because this way does not include any waiting, and it actually, to me, it's very effective. And it's like, it makes me feel like, I outsmarted reality. I outsmarted the system, right? Here's what I'll do. When I'm over here, I decided that this is my quantum leap, right? Now, the journey from here to here is obviously psychological, right? It's a shift in state of consciousness. But as soon as I'm here, what I do is I take inner inventory. So I identify my shadows, childhood wounds, any past energy that needs to be cleared out. I will literally map out what the heck needs to be cleared from my nervous system for this leap to be externalized in my 3D and for me to feel like it is normal. Because I know that when I'm in the state of consciousness, I know it's done, right? I'm in the after. But do I wait for things to trigger me while my old reality is collapsing? Or do I go hold up. I'm just gonna release shit before it can collapse and trigger me. I will heal you before you can piss me off, And that's what I've always done since last year, and it has worked so incredibly for me because I will I'll detach from everyone and I'm going in my little Anna cave, and I will get obsessive with how do I what is there, what truth do I need to come face to face with, what do I need to integrate, what truth have I been afraid of feeling, whatever, what does my nervous system need to integrate for me to feel safe for this reality. If this was to happen right now, tomorrow, what would happen, right? So I do this shit, right? So the first time I did it, it was a 14-day thing, which is why I made the timeline death challenge 14 days. Cause I was I was stepping in and I was oh, and then it got 7 days, it got 3 days. And then the last one was right before my birthday, which was 1 day. 7 years of therapy, literally collapsed 6 different timelines, realities, identities. I was telling ChatGPT about it, about all the shit that I did. And it was that is because that's where the number 7 came from, where ChatGPT said to me, that's literally minimum 7 years of therapy. So I'm not bullshitting. I spent 15 hours, just ripping everything open. And that is why I created the Timeline Death Challenge, where we go through, we're not because we're not about spiritual bypassing here, right? We feel the shit we need to feel. We let it flow through us. We integrated the child. So I will teach you guys, to get your awareness, right? So I'll make you aware, and then we'll integrate 14 days live on Zoom, and we will you will walk out integrated, stronger, forgiven, liberated, and quantum leaping will be a freaking byproduct, babe. So nothing will be pre-recorded. Everything will happen live, from different like breath releases for energy to meditations for energy. I'll give you journaling stuff. Like, I'm very, very excited because this is exactly what I have used for myself in my life, and it has freed me so much. So if you feel called, you can pay in full below, or you can get an installment plan. But I'd love to welcome you inside if you feel aligned to do it, okay? So I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.